Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. So whoa. Did Klaus Schwab get arrested? According to several reports, Klaus Schwab, best known for founding the World Economic Forum, was arrested on November 12th. The WEF chairman is now charged with fraud for crimes. As per the article below, this brought to me by BondCrypt XRP. He was not the only one who brought me this article. And so it sounds as though Klaus Schwab was arrested in his home in Switzerland, at least as per this article. But, I couldn't believe it. How could the world's mega supervillain get arrested just like that in his home in Switzerland? And so, of course, I had to do more research on this, but there were a lot of news outlets that were actually reporting the same thing. Why was Klaus Schwab arrested? Klaus Schwab arrested in Switzerland. So a lot of these different news outlets, Celebhook, Wiki, ProjectTopics.org, Flipboard, we got Death Militia. So a bunch of outlets just kind of latching onto this. Of course, though, I had to look it up myself, and this is a Reuters article, a fact check. And unfortunately for us, for humanity, Klaus Schwab has not been arrested. Online claims that Klaus Schwab, executive chairman of the World Economic Forum, has been arrested in Switzerland are false, guys. Authorities have told Reuters. Early appearances of the claim can be tracked back to a few websites here. But according to spokespersons for both Switzerland's Federal Police Department and Europol, told Reuters that these claims are false. They are not true. So, unfortunately, we've got to live with the idea of the Great Reset continuing to loom over our heads. Fortunately, though, for us, we are invested in cryptocurrencies, and the silver lining is that, this is going to help us hedge against what is going to happen with the financial system because of the Great Reset, which in part has to do with the destroying of economies globally, not just in the United States and the Western world, but, many different countries have seen their economies just kind of implode. And, this is all part and parcel to what the end game is for the World Economic Forum. And so just to put things into perspective here, guys, we've got XRP Crypto Wolf bringing this to our attention. And these are just some articles with regards to some countries around the world working around the clock, developing their CBDCs. The central bank's president of Peru said that the country is partnering with other central banks in the issuance of a domestic CBDC. We have seen dozens of countries jumping on board with CBDCs. And so Peru is just another one. We have been working on a digital currency. This is coming from the Reserve Central Bank of Peru President Julio Varalde. He said at an online business forum in Peru, "We are involved in a lot of projects with several central banks. The initiative follows a range of similar efforts throughout Latin America and beyond." Varalde, who said the central banks of India and Singapore are partners in the project, were optimistic about the future of CBDCs. So they're even in contact with India and Singapore and their central banks and saying, yep, CBDCs, this is the way we're going. We are not going to be the first because we do not have the resources to be the first or to face the risks. We do not want to be left behind, though, Varalde said about the potential issuance of a CBDC. He also said that while the country aligns with similarly sized countries, Peru still follows Brazil, Mexico, and several European nations in developing a CBDC. So the BCRP is working on changes to its payment system, but did not disclose the details. Interesting. We know similar things are occurring, like in Brazil and their central bank running on RippleNet. We have also heard of pilot projects, for example, Project Jasper between the Monetary Authority of Singapore and the Bank of Canada, who did trial a RippleNet transfer, a cross-border payment also running on RippleNet. And so these guys are not disclosing the details, but they said, I think the payment system we are going to have 8 years from now is the world is going to be a completely different one from the current one. So they are even giving a timeline, 8 years from now, which is interesting. He said even the financial system will probably be quite different. And this is all in line, guys, with the World Economic Forum's Great Reset. Again, there's a lot of moving parts to this, but the financial system is just one of them. I'm personally happy that I'm invested in XRP because that is going to be the coin, one of the World Economic Forum's chosen cryptocurrencies that is really going to run the world. They have a list of about 5 or 6. That really piqued my interest back in June when I originally saw this document, the World Economic Forum's document, and the Global Future Council on Cryptocurrencies from June of this year. Scrolling down here, and I believe it's page 17, listing the top 6 cryptocurrencies that they see, the World Economic see, as essentially helping to change this financial framework. They've listed Algorand, Cardano, CELO, XRP, Solana, and Stellar's XLM. So an interesting list. I am invested in 2 of these 6 cryptocurrencies. I'm sure some of you guys may be invested in more, but these are some of the cryptocurrencies, guys, that are obviously going to help shape the new financial framework. So certainly these coins are ones to be paying attention to. I also believe that these coins will likely be in the top 10, if not 20, one day in the coming decade. So, right now we've got Solana in number 5, Cardano in number 6, XRP in number 7. And so, just pay attention because, there are laggards like Stellar's in 25 right now. I believe Algorand, right up here in 22. I don't know where CeeLo is on this list. Where is CeeLo? Let's just look it up for fun here. CeeLo. Ranked at number 77 as of today, trading at about $5.23. So, we are still at the beginning, right? A lot of these cryptocurrencies are still in their infancy, but we're waiting for it, the Great Reset, just around the corner, unless these global mega villains can be stopped. I don't know. Maybe something will happen. Michael at Val5 Links brought this to our attention. Just another country who is looking to integrate with CBDCs. This one talks about Russia. So digital ruble should not boost inflation. And inflation is an important topic here that I also want to talk about. The Bank of Russia is preparing for a prolonged trial of the digital version of their national fiat to ensure this is a full-fledged ruble. The head of the Monetary Authority has emphasized the regulator has put forward some conditions for the implementation of the new currency project. So Bank of Russia sets conditions for the digital ruble. The Central Bank of Russia may test a digital ruble for more than a year before it finally launches the CBDC. The bank's chair, Elvira Nabiulina, said during a meeting of the Import Financial Market Committee at the State Duma, the lower house of parliament, the head of the regulator insisted that the digital ruble project will be realized only if it meets certain criteria. So they are really examining the usefulness and the efficiency, I suppose, of the digital ruble, and they will only do it if it makes sense. The Monetary Authority's first requirement is that the digital currency be freely convertible to the other 2 forms of Russian fiat, cash and bank money, at a 1-to-1 ratio. So they are still doing something different from what I'm sure a lot of Western nations are doing. Whereas I believe, and I mean this is kind of speculation just based on the research I have done on the World Economic Forum and evil supervillains, I believe that the Western world want to abolish cash altogether and get their citizens on CBDCs exclusively, whereas Russia says, no, okay, we will have a CBDC, but we want them also to be freely convertible to cash and bank money at a 1-to-1 ratio. So responding to a question regarding the risks of introducing the coin, Nabiulina stressed that the matter pertains to monetary circulation and that financial authorities need to be very careful. Quoted by the business portal FinMarket, she elaborated, "It should be a real, full-fledged ruble. There will be no discounts or anything like that." The central bank's top executive further explained that the prototype of the digital ruble will be likely to launch at the beginning of next year before conducting trials for at least 12 months to see how the CBDC works. The governor also remarked that another key condition for the success of the digital ruble is to make sure it does not accelerate inflation. So inflation is another big topic here, something that a lot of the world has been seeing, something that is also factoring in to this Great Reset. So the theory goes as such, right? The powers that be and mega supervillains want to essentially destroy the current system that already exists. They're seeing that it doesn't work. Clearly, it hasn't worked for decades now, but they've been propping it up, right? With QE, quantitative easing, and other different methods. I mean, we saw I think we really kind of got a taste of it in 2008 with the mortgage crisis in the United States. Banks defaulted, a lot of banks went under, huge government bailouts were provided, and so, the market has been chugging away since then. Here, I'm going to bring up the S&P 500 real quickly for you guys. The market has been chugging away since then. However, we were always kind of under the impression that, is this system sustainable? And, over the years, many of us, I didn't really get into finance until about 2011. So after this occurred, but, many of us have been questioning it ever since. We have seen nothing but upward trajectory for the stock markets, and a lot of rich people got a lot richer during this time. So, we're in this situation now where a Great Reset is certainly on the table. Evil global supervillains want to change the world. They have a plan in place. CBDCs are just part of this. And, inflation, hyperinflation at its worst case, is going to also play a part in this. I also just wanted to bring you guys this real quick with regards, as a side note, but kind of related, with regards to unofficial RippleNet and ODL in Asia and the Middle East. This brought to us by Leonidas here. He's just made a nice little map of where we can see ODL thriving already. Notice how much development is happening currently in Asia and the Middle East, and how little. You would think that more would be happening in North America and Europe, but how little in comparison is occurring in that region compared to this region. So, you know, on the one hand, we're seeing a lot of development and a lot of advancements in these regions of the world, and he outlines a few down here. So UniPay, ProgressSoft, I mean, there's too many to really just rhyme out. I will link this in the description. Bcash over here, Bank of Asia Limited, Mutual Trust Bank, and BRAC Bank. Interesting to see where they're located. Zamzam, UBS, Moscow, Bank of Russia with a question mark. Not sure if that one is fully functional. Japan Post Bank, MUFG, Mitsubishi Corporation, MoneyTap. So this is interesting because we are seeing these developments in Asia and the Middle East, yet Europe, the United States, Canada, we have yet to see this kind of rollout. And, even in countries where XRP is not declared a security like Canada, even though we have seen the Monetary Authority of Singapore and Canada do their Project Jasper, trial it, we haven't really seen mass XRP adoption in that part of the world. So this is also something that I think we should make note of. And on top of this, we must pay attention to statements like this. So this is breaking news from Insider Paper. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen estimates that the US government will run out of money on December 15th. So that's kind of scary. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen now estimates that the government will run out of money on December 15th, an extension from the previous deadline of December 3rd. There are scenarios in which Treasury would be left with insufficient remaining resources to continue to finance the operations of the U.S. government beyond this date, Yellen said to the new deadline in a letter to the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. She said this just yesterday. While the pushed deadline gives lawmakers some additional time to address the debt ceiling, it remains unclear how Democrats will proceed after Republican leaders, including Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, have repeatedly stated they will not help with legislation to raise the limit. So they have said enough is enough. And Janet Yellen is saying, okay, but we're going to run out of money. Is this all orchestrated, or is this something that the U.S. government truly believes they can fix? Let me continue. Republicans have insisted that Democrats must act alone to address the debt limit through a process known as budget reconciliation. So they talk a little bit about the ins and outs, the details. But, to me, a lot of this is all noise. This is how I read this. I think the writing is already on the wall. I think they know the current financial system is in crisis and has been for many, many decades. This, guys, from 2008 onward, a manufactured bull run, some may argue. Of course you are going to make money if you invested down here. What are these companies truly worth? Some may ask. I mean, if the money printer has just been on full blast on maximum unlimited money printing throughout the years, how can we truly even give value to a dollar? The government says a dollar's worth a dollar, but what is it really worth? I mean, there is no standard. Everything is in chaos at this moment in time. And now it could be that the writing is on the wall December 15th. What organizations like the International Monetary Fund have said is that, well, we will help you get out of these problems and we will come up with a solution. So this was from June of last year. My thanks to His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales and to Professor Schwab for bringing us together. This is Kristalina Georgieva talking about, getting out of this pandemic. And again, this was from last year, so we were kind of more in the depths of it at that time. And in this speech, she talks a little bit about helping. I believe there was a paragraph in here saying, we need to help countries really get out of this. We need to, provide financial aid so that countries will get out of this. It's going to be tough. This is their narrative. It's going to be tough, but we're going to do the best we can do. And guys, this is not just relegated to smaller countries, smaller economies. The International Monetary Fund is also looking to bail out big countries with big economies, but on several conditions. I'm sure you guys have heard Build Back Better. Well, they want to focus on a greener, smarter, fairer world in the future. Second, let me talk about smarter growth. We know the digital economy is a big winner of the crisis, but we must not allow the digital divide to widen so that some countries and communities fall further behind. So they're looking at equity, moving away from a capitalistic model, if I were to put it in plain terms. And that takes me to my third point, fairer growth. We know that if left to its own devices, the pandemic is going to deepen inequality. That has happened in prior pandemics. We can avoid this if we concentrate on investing in people, in the social fabric of our societies, and access to opportunities. So this whole communistic, Marxist, ideological world that these global evil supervillains envisage is something that they've been trying to push through. I gotta say, Donald Trump was a thorn in their side when he was president of the United States, but now there's Joe Biden, essentially a yes man in the top spot in the USA, somebody who is on board with the Build Back Better initiative. It sounds like a very scary proposition, guys, but need I remind you, Ripple, part of the World Economic Forum initiative. Not only are they part of this document from June of 2021, they are also on the World Economic Forum's website. So I have confidence, despite where we could potentially see the world going, I have confidence that we are invested in the best cryptocurrency, one of the best cryptocurrencies, that will allow us to accumulate wealth, while others, unfortunately, others who are not invested in cryptocurrencies that will change the world, will be left behind. This is partially why I do this channel. I want people to know about Ripple and XRP. I want people to understand where we are going, guys. I know you guys understand, but it's unfortunate. Not too many people do, and unfortunately, I have a feeling some will be left behind. But back to December 15th. Is this the deadline? Or is this going to be pushed even further? Is government going to try to prolong the pain before the entire system crashes? Of course, it's not just the US. The US is a big part of it. The rest of the world is also in turmoil. And basically, the entire financial structure has to collapse in order for these evil supervillains to get their way. It could also lead to a cryptocurrency bull run. People will be hedging with cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and many of the other top cryptocurrencies as a hedge if suddenly fiat currencies are subject to hyperinflation. Is it any secret where the institutional money is pouring to hedge against this financial crisis? Guys, even just doing a quick Google search here, institutional investment in crypto, just look at these headlines from August, institutional money pouring into the crypto market. I don't even want to go into depth. I just want to read you guys the headlines. From November, institutional investors' introduction into blockchain. Another one from August, why institutional investors are buying Bitcoin again. From September, 62% of institutions to start investing in crypto within a year. From July, most institutional investors expect to buy digital assets. From October, institutional investors dive in headfirst into crypto. So I think the headlines speak volumes. That's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.